Good morning. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So excited to have you with us on this Thursday morning.
Thursday.
And it's supposed to warm up again today.
I am ready for that.
Really, because the 2 or 3 days that it was cold,
we were in, like horrible storm conditions, Erin.
Horrible?
Horrible.
Like buried under a blizzard when it's
Erin, people died.
negative 50 outside?
People died, Erin.
From mudslides?
Yes.
Not here.
There was a lot of rain, Erin. I'm just saying, it was scary out there. People don't know how to drive in the rain.
Oh, that's true.
It was scary.
Well, but the fact, people are still idiots even though it's nice outside.
That's true.
Isn't that sad?
That is sad. I actually, I am glad for a little bit of warmth. And this is going to sound terrible, but for some reason, I got that kind of like cold in the bones, cold yesterday, and I could not warm up.
Oh, that's not good.
And so I'm like...
Did you have hot cocoa?
I did not. I should have had some like a warm drink. That might have helped. But I found myself walking around all day with my jacket on, and even at one point, sitting at home with my gloves on.
You could have had hot cocoa with rum chata in it.
Oh, now that would have fixed the problem, but I don't know if we have any rum chata.
We do. We have 2 bottles of rum chata.
Oh, my goodness.
See, we're not really big drinkers. Both of us bought them on different occasions, and they've been sitting they've been sitting in our cabinet for quite a while, months.
Yes.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I was
and
just
for those
told.
of you listening, I know it's 6 o'clock in the morning, but rum chata and hot cocoa is actually very, very good.
Yes, it is.
It's a nice, sweet, treat.
So we've got a lot of interesting stories today. One of the local ones that I wanted to talk about was about the Norton Science and Language Academy, which is a charter school, and it's on county property. And apparently the county wants it back, and this is creating a bit of a problem. So this is from the Sun newspaper. It says, depending on who you listen to, San Bernardino's Norton Science and Language Academy is either squatting on public land or is making the most of a bad deal after funds they were counting on didn't come through. But what both sides agree on is that San Bernardino County wants the land that the school is using back. On Tuesday, representatives of Norton, the Lewis Center, and California Charter Schools Association pleaded with the Board of Supervisors to renegotiate the lease and allow the charter school to stay put, criticizing the county for sending the school an eviction notice on Christmas Day.
Oh, my,
Right?
really?
Boo, Christmas Day.
Boo. First of all, it's a school, right?
Yeah.
So are they there Christmas Day?
No.
Are they there the day after Christmas?
No.
Are they there for the week after Christmas?
Probably not, no.
So that's kind of slimy.
Yeah, and that's like that's the middle of the school year, right? I mean, you're going to tell, we're going to kick you out in the middle of the school year. So anyway, they stress the school's value, saying students leave Norton knowing 3 languages. This is one of the things that I like about this school. The kids learn English, Spanish, and Mandarin. They receive a broader education in the arts as well. Programs that have been on the chopping block in public schools due to budget cuts. The hundreds of families, residents, and taxpayers of the school have made it a home at 503 East Central Avenue and want to stay in that home that they've built. A home, may I add, where they hold a legal and valid lease for another 10 years, said Fatima Cristina Adame, Southern California's managing regional director of the California Charter Schools Association, which represents more than 1,200 charter schools statewide. She urged the county to negotiate in good faith with the school. Never have I seen a county try to make a profit off the backs of children. Please meet with our families and explain why you're trying to evict them without just cause on Christmas Day, Adame told the board.
So hold up. Before you continue to read, the question that is really crossing my mind is, if you have a lease, by definition, you're not squatting.
I know.
Squatting means you move in and you just take a hold of, the place without paying anyone a dime or signing any contracts.
So a little deeper down in the story, they get into the details here. Apparently, when they signed the lease, they had made an agreement that when they got some money to do this construction, that they would put a Head Start center on the location. And the county is now saying, hey, you never put the Head Start center on there, and therefore you're in violation of your lease, and we're going to evict you.
Now, Head Starts are scrambling to find people to fill their classes right now.
Yeah.
Because I have, given what I do in my other life,
yes.
we've met with Head Starts to because we work with infants and children and toddlers, and they're not filling up their classrooms in many places. And other places there are waiting lists, but I know the one at Waterman Gardens in San Bernardino, which is not too far from there,
Yep.
They don't have enough children to fill their classrooms.
Exactly. And so, here's the challenge, though. Apparently, when the school opened back in 2008, they applied for a state grant. You might remember Proposition 1D. There was a series of propositions, and all the money went to different sets of things in the state government. And 1D was the one for charter schools, for facilities. Everyone was confident at the time that they were going to receive the grant. Head Start was included in the application for that grant, and a new Head Start building would have been built with that grant, along with the new building for the school. But they didn't get the grant, right? The grant didn't come through, and all parties were aware of that. Now, even because they didn't get the grant, they couldn't just continue to be in the facilities they were in. They still needed to make some upgrades. So they began to rehab the building themselves. They put in some portable classrooms with the idea that they would get a grant in the future to actually do the building that they said. But according to the county, they're still on the hook for the building, the Head Start facility. And the county is saying that when they put the portables on the property, that counted as the new construction that they said they were going to do, thus triggering their need, because the way it was written is that they would have to start the Head Start program, get the Head Start program once they did the construction.
Well, okay, but portable classrooms are acceptable on every school campus in the state.
I know.
I mean, it's kind of the norm, right?
I know.
I mean, there aren't as many as there were a few years ago, just because the millennials are, the generation that it's there now is smaller than the millennial generation, so a lot of districts have declining enrollment. But why is that not acceptable?
I do not know. But apparently the county basically just wants the land, and they're using this as their reason to get there. Now, there are between 180 and 200 Head Start students at the campus any day, Lamb said, along with about 800 students at the Norton Academy. Okay? So apparently they've got a lot of Head Start kids that are already going there.
So we're talking about 1,000 kids that are going to be disrupted in the middle of the school year.
Yeah. Yes. According to Lamb, the county and school have been arguing about the campus for 2 years, and the county's ultimate goal appears to be to sell the land currently used to educate about 1,000 kids to industrial developers. Because what we need is another tilt-up. A big warehouse, Aaron.
Because we don't have enough of those.
Yeah.
And it worked out so well the last time we had a recession, right? When all the warehouse jobs went away. Love having those big empty buildings.
Yes. Now, the county apparently told the school that they offered to sell the property for $6.5 million. Now, that's higher than what the school had the property appraised at. School official was served with a 3-day notice, perform or quit, on December 20th, while school offices were closed for the holidays.
You've got to be kidding me.
Wow. So with a 3-day notice plus a 2-day mailing allowance, we were literally asked to move out nearly 800 underserved students out of their school home on Christmas Day in order to avoid litigation. Yeah. This is really, really kind of shady, you know?
Here's the thing. You have a school. I understand that they want the land, but 3 days? And you have a school. I mean, these are... That there are 1,000 kids being educated at this school, 800 in the academy, and another 200 Head Start kids. 1,000 people are going to be displaced.
Yes.
So the county has to. It's not just get out. The county has to find them other property.
You would think, right?
But that would be the law, right?
I
mean,
would think,
if the government is moving you out of a property, forcing you out of a lease, it's incumbent upon them to pay for the move.
And here's the fascinating thing to me. When you look at charter schools, and I know that this is a touchy subject for a lot of people, but this particular charter school, the Norton Aerospace Academy, this school is actually one of the high-performing ones. This is one of the really good ones, right? And so, I could see if you had a charter school that really wasn't performing, and you're like, you know what, this is one of those sort of education mills where they're just churning these kids in, and they're not really doing what they're supposed to do. But this is a really good school, and I think they're in for some major pushback. People are upset. I would be upset. I am upset. I'm upset for them. It'll be interesting to see if San Maria City Schools gets involved at all. They've done a pretty good job in San Maria City Schools of supporting charter schools and working with charter schools And it'll be very interesting to see if they have a relationship there and if they might be able to come up with some alternative. But again, you can't really move a school in the middle of the school year. That's just an impossibility.
Well, and you certainly can't do it in 3 days.
Yeah. And so, if they really are forced out, what happens is those kids essentially get dropped back into whatever public school they should have been at in the middle of the year, and then you have to sort out all of the transcript issues and all the other stuff. And those Head Start kids, I have no idea where they would go.
They'd go to other Head Start classrooms.
Yeah, but a lot of times Head Start parents don't have the transportation necessarily to be, zipping all over town to go to some other Head Start program.
It's true. It's true. I understand the county's desire to sell the land. If the county needs to raise some funds and they want to sell the property, fine. But there has to be a better way of approaching it.
Yeah.
I understand the school's been fighting it. That's not unusual because they like their location. They've been there a while. So why doesn't the county help them find something else and then move them?
Right.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
I feel for the supervisors because I know they're going to get a ration of angry people.
Of feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Dell Small Business. Talk to a Dell Tech Advisor today to find the right Dell PC for your business. This is Charles Osgood from the Dell Small Business Studios. Some athletes are turning to a cardiovascular workout that spares them from wear and tear on their legs and knees. Here's our CBS News colleague, Danielle Nottingham.
Former baseball player Matt Gilbert suffers aches and pains when working out. So he's turning to a lower impact, high resistance training.
First time doing it, you kind of get goosebumps going in.
Using a treadmill that's underwater.
You're basically just using all your extremities just to go as fast as you can, and you're fighting against the treadmill just to see what you can get out of your body.
More after this. The motion of the underwater treadmill mimics running on dry land. Russ Romano is the director of athletic medicine at the University of Southern California's training facility.
You can work with 3 planes of motion. You can work forward, laterally, and rotationally. You can run, jump. You can do squats, lunges.
And, as Danielle Nottingham tells us,
muscles work harder running through water that's kept at around 90 degrees to promote flexibility.
The higher the water level, the less impact on your joints, and that allows for more pain-free movement when you're rehabbing from an injury.
Dr. Rick Hatch is professor of orthopedic surgery at USC.
When you're walking on the underwater treadmill at shoulder level, your knee joint is seeing only 25% of the force versus 100% of your full body weight.
Doctors say athletes and patients with joint and sports injuries can recover weeks or even months faster using the underwater treadmill. It's also effective for people with arthritis.
Matt Gilbert needed just 15 minutes to get a good workout.
I'm tired. I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty beat.
Without the soreness.
The Osgood File. I'll see you online at Facebook, Twitter, and at theosgoodfile.com. This is Charles Osgood.
This is Gary Garver. If you're a coffee drinker like I am and enjoy special brews that have a unique taste, I have the perfect premium selection for you, Volcanic Red Coffee. Volcanic Red Coffee receives its great green coffee beans from all over the world. Volcanic Red drum roasts their beans by hand for the optimal roast experience. They then put their whole or grinded coffee beans in pods and packages and ship them out to you the same day you place your order. Volcanic Red Coffee takes great pride in making sure your coffee is as fresh as if you picked the coffee beans yourself. Right now, Volcanic Red Coffee is offering a 50% discount on all coffee products. Go to www.volcanicredcoffee.com. That's www.volcanicredcoffee.com and type in the promo code GARY50 to receive a 50% discount. That's promo code GARY50. That's a 50% discount off of 2 or more bags or pods. Volcanic Red Coffee for all your premium coffee needs.
Enjoy all the benefits of green tea with Quantum Nutrition Lab's revolutionary and highly absorbable Green Tea PG. Buy 2, get the third one free. Call 888-588-7578 or visit us online at qnlabs.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family.
Father John Reed.
When you are a man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants in your room. It's for fun.
atheist pastor Luke King.
I don't believe in God. I believe in science.
The Gospel of Luke and John.
I'm Father John Reed.
And I'm Luke King. Join us for Our Gospel, the Gospel of Luke and John, our new show.
The most divine hour on radio, somewhere between Billy Graham and the Young Turks.
Right here, starting on October 19th at 8 p.m. on the stations that leave no listener behind.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. Or stream us live at kcaaradio.com.
Luke.
John.
8 p.m. every Thursday.
This is KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the brink, the morning show on KCAA. And, okay, so I read this article in Inc. magazine that just so irritated me. And it's gotten some traction on Facebook, too. People are like, are you kidding me? The headline of the article is, do millennials really have it, quote, harder, unquote, than previous generations? Now, this is ridiculous. Just the headline, because in previous generations we didn't do all the whining. It was like, suck it up, buttercup. We had it hard in our generation too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not something that people would be even proud of or say, woe is me in public.
So I think the millennials definitely had it harder, and I actually have a lot of sympathy and empathy for this group of young adults who literally came of age in a time period when our country was at war after 9/11, and they were the raw recruits that were sent off to fight. And then when they finally were starting to get their legs under them, the economy crashed, and these poor kids have not been able to catch a break.
Really?
And they're just a bunch of nice kids who never did nothing to nobody, and nobody will give them, nobody will ever help them, Aaron. Nobody. And so they've had it hard. They've had it really hard.
For a second, I thought you were serious. So this article in Inc. magazine, and Gene Marks is he's the owner of the Marks Group, and I'm guessing from the picture that he's a millennial.
Yes.
And he says, he starts this out with, it's an easy thing to do to make fun of millennials, right? They're so lazy. They're spoiled. They don't know the meaning of a hard day's work. They have it so much easier than we ever did when we were their age. So is this true? Do millennials actually have it harder than previous generations? And then he cites all the things that you just said.
Yes.
I'm obviously not going to read the article, but it's out loud, like on the air. But
some of the things that they cite are absolutely blatantly wrong.
Yes. Expensive real estate, cost of living, lower quality contracting work. They only have it hard in their minds because they have the expectation that it was going to be easy, right?
Yeah, sure.
And to me, that's a parenting problem. But now, it's a suck it up, buttercup moment for them, as a whole. First of all, young generations are always called slackers. They're always called lazy. We certainly were as Gen Xers. I know the baby boomers were called that by their parents. It's just, and you get the, when I was your age, I had to walk uphill both ways in the snow to school kind of, talk. And so, that's nothing new. But at some point you grow up, because the oldest of the millennials, Tobin, are in their mid-30s.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point you grow up and you realize, that life's just life. And, you muddle through just like everybody else. And unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be, maybe it's just the media stirring the pot. I don't know. But this article is ridiculous. And it says, and he goes on to say, depending on the color of your skin, some millennials are much better off than others. Well, okay, take millennials out of that. Take the word millennials out of that. In the country, we have wealthy people and poor people. We have successful people and less successful people. We have productive citizens. We have non-productive citizens. And that is irrespective of generation.
Yeah, and when you start talking about, this issue of race and disparity, is it been better for millennial kids of different races than it was for Gen Xers or for baby boomers or generations before? I think most people would say that yes, it really is, and that today the things that we're arguing about in terms of issues of race and racism and equality and equity and all that are much sort of smaller around the edges issues than the big blatant racist issues that were being dealt with 30, 40, 50 years ago.
It's also a problem with, they look at their parents' success, and every young person does this.
Yeah.
You think that, oh, mom and dad are successful. What you didn't see, because you were too little or you weren't born yet, is the hungry years when mom and dad weren't successful and what they had to do to build some kind of stability in the family and in the home.
So let me just share my shock when I graduated from college and we were early married and moved out on our own. And we very quickly, our standard of living was much lower than what I had when I lived in my parents' home, because my parents were much older and established and were making very good money at that point because they had long careers and had been very successful and had accumulated savings and various things. And so we had lots of stuff and lots of things. And then we moved out on our own, fresh out of college, bottom of the totem pole, bottom of the pay scale. And, we had all the hand-me-down furniture, and we didn't have...
For years, our house was decorated in early American hand-me-down.
Yeah, and we had none of the, I had none of the niceties that I'd had in my parents' home. And it was a bit of a shock, right?
I had already been out on my own for a few years.
Yeah.
But because what you don't remember, you remember your parents in middle age.
Yes.
What you don't remember is your parents when they were living on base housing and in tiny little places, and just struggling like everybody
and
else.
Worrying about if you're going to have enough money to stretch out and have food for everyone at the end of the month.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I think that's a smack in the face to every generation when you get there, right? When you hit that point in life when now suddenly you're supposed to stand on your own 2 feet and be responsible for you. I don't know anyone who doesn't sort of take that with a little bit of a jolt.
Yeah, it's in your mid-20s, everybody, or somewhere in your 20s, reality meets expectation. Bam.
Yep.
And at that point, you either grow up or you don't.
Yeah.
And so that's something that's human life. That's life experience. For us, it happens to be in your mid-20s. In other generations, it was earlier. Because
you know why I think this was so hard for the millennials, though?
Why?
Is because when they were little itty bitties, we as a society put them on such a pedestal, right?
We did.
There's this cycle that kind of goes back and forth, and the Gen Xers, the ones that came before, we were the bad kid generation.
We were feral.
We were feral, right? I mean. Everything bad you could say about kids, they said about us, and
we're the most incarcerated, the highest out of wedlock pregnancy rates.
Yes.
At that point,
and we grew up watching movies that were all based on kids being evil and bad. Children of the Corn. I mean, that was a movie.
Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby. I mean, that was how we were.
The Omen.
That's how we were talked about, right? Kids were evil as we were growing up, but when the millennials were growing up, it was Baby on Board, right? It was. Protect the precious babies, and it was, the helicopter moms and all this wonderful stuff to protect them, and they got this sort of sheltered, you're special, snowflake.
So our message is you suck, and their message is you're snowflake.
And the reality is that our kind of sucky childhood with being sort of messaged like that toughened us up, and so when we hit the ripe old age of 20, 25, whatever, and we were expected to stand on our own. We're like, yeah, whatever. I've been standing on my own since I was 8, and they got there, and they're like, Mommy?
What?
They're like, Mommy? Protect me? No, I mean, I really, like, generationally speaking, though, there was definitely a real different feeling tone about those two generations. It's quite stark, and I think that their expectations were dramatically shifted when they hit adult age.
Now, and I have to say, I have to differentiate millennials from millennials who grew up in the United States and other Western countries, first world countries, versus millennials who maybe immigrated and still had their needy nation or third world nation mentality, because immigrant families don't behave this way.
They do not.
Don't have those expectations.
No.
They have the hard work ethic that came with their parents. They have the understanding that the world is a hard place.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, my experience teaching millennials, which was most of my teaching career, is that they are actually hard workers. You know, that these are kids who, they're not afraid to get in and do the work, but they have a different sort of approach to working, that they often will look for they'll do the work, but they're going to look for a smarter or easier way to do it, and they're really good at working in teams and
Indeed.
and sharing the load.
How many of your millennials, though, came from immigrant families?
A lot of them.
A lot of them. It's a different work ethic.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, all right, with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio. I'm Lisa Carter. President Trump is on Twitter this morning suggesting Democrats could have paid the Russians to influence the 2016 election. Trump also questioned whether the FBI used the existence of a dossier outlining Trump's alleged contacts with Russia as a reason to investigate his campaign. He asked what happened to the smashed and hidden Democrat servers and the crooked Hillary emails. The president, in a second tweet, also mentioned a new poll that says 66% of people think the economy is excellent or good. The frantic search continues for more than a dozen people still missing in Southern California after Tuesday's deadly mudslides. This woman is waiting for any sign of her best friend.
We go dig and find her, but honest to God, I never could imagine such a scene.
The Santa Barbara County Sheriff says 17 people are dead. At least 300 homes are damaged. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
It's time for your KCAA AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3 traffic report. I'm Erin Brinker. In Fontana on the 10 westbound before Cherry Avenue, an injury crash has been moved to the center divider. There's some stop-and-go traffic backed up from Sierra. In Riverside County in the Temecula area on the 15 southbound between the 215 south and the 79 south Temecula Parkway, there's stop-and-go traffic. Also in Ontario, and the 60 westbound at the 15, a wreck is along the right shoulder of the 60 west transition to the 15 north. There's slow traffic from Etiwanda Avenue. In Riverside on the 91 westbound before Central in the city of Riverside, a trash can. You heard me right, a trash can is in the right lanes. Watch for slowing. And a few more lost cans are along the right shoulder that'll probably be blowing around soon. This has been your traffic on KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Joel Hilsman. For this morning, sunny with a high near 75, south wind at 5 miles per hour and becoming calm. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 50. Into Friday, sunny with a high near 78. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 51. Today, sunny with a high near 75. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 50. I'm Joel Hilsman, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California, KCAA 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy, 1050 AM, Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Hi, it's Jan Elliott in Snow Country with 6 to 8 inches of new snow. The skiing and riding at Mountain High not to be missed. You can take some hot laps through Southern California's closest park on West Mountain right up until 10 p.m. Snow Summit and Bear Mountain both reporting pack, powder, and powder conditions after half a foot in this week's storm. At June Mountain, up to 2 feet in 5 days, and they are skiing and riding about a dozen runs there. Bear Valley on 4 trails with the winter explosion this Saturday. Fireworks, torchlight parade, live music, and more. At Alpine Meadows, 30 trails open. The Arizona Snow Bowl skiing close to 20 runs. And in Colorado, Crested Butte picked up 6 inches of new snow. Today's report brought to you by Indeed.com. Are you hiring? Join the over 3 million businesses that use Indeed.com for hiring. You can post a job in minutes and manage your candidates from an easy-to-use dashboard. Post your next job on the world's #1 job site, Indeed.com. I'm Jan Elliott on the trifecta of talk, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind.
It's time to shop in the cool, relaxed comfort of the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands, conveniently located on the I-10 freeway between the Alabama and Tennessee exits. Bring the kids too and watch them play in the only indoor fun center. High Five Indoor Playground, where parents are welcomed on the playground. Birthday celebrations are encouraged, so make plans for some great fun at the mall. More reasons why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart. KCAA, where every day is a great day.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. And I'm pleased to welcome to the show Patrick Chandler. He is a senior public information specialist with the Southern California Air Quality Management District. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
So, air quality has been pretty lousy.
Well, yes, it has. I mean, for one, we've had quite a bit of vegetation fires in Los Angeles and the Inland Empire. So that's put up a lot of what we call particulate matter into the air. And basically, the smoke, as it goes up, it starts to collect in the atmosphere and it travels. And obviously, it's not good for people to breathe. It causes, for people who have asthma, there's obviously the chance for having asthma attacks and other respiratory issues. So it's created some pretty bad air quality the past several weeks.
Well, and when it's exacerbated by everybody having the flu, I am an asthmatic, and it's been rough the last month.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. In addition to the fires, we've also had weather, kind of like basically the marine layers that we've had kind of coming in from the coast. It creates a condition where a lot of the particulate matter that would generally just kind of disperse up into the atmosphere and kind of blow away, it traps it in. Because you kind of have warm air above the marine layer and just kind of holding it there. And so as it goes towards the Inland Empire, Riverside, Redland, Marina Valley, it just traps it in there. Therefore, that the particulate matter, the air pollution stays closer to the ground, and then people breathe it in, and some people have issues. That's why we have our Check Before You Burn program.
So there have been more no-burn days this year than any other year, right?
Yeah, so far we're at about 29, and so I think we're just about just getting above where we were in the past few years. But as I mentioned, it has a lot to do with the weather and also the fires that we've had, and so that's why we encourage people to check before you burn. They can go to our website, aqmd.gov, sign up for air alerts, so they can be aware when they can take their part to not add to more air pollution or more particulate matter into our atmosphere. I mean, into the skies around Southern California.
So a no-burn day means, there's no fire pits allowed, and there's no, you can't have a fire in your fireplace. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. If you have a wood-burning fireplace, or you have, the outdoor fireplaces or a wood-burning stove, and you live below 3,000 feet in our air district, which includes Riverside County, LA, Orange County, San Bernardino. And so, therefore, we're asking people to not burn wood in their fireplaces. They can obviously, use their gas log or other options to warm their home. And, obviously, it looks nice to have the fire. And, some people have a tradition of doing that, especially when it occasionally gets cold in Southern California. But we're asking people to not do that when we have a no-burn day.
So I have my best friend actually lives up in the mountains, and they heat their home through wood burning. They've turned their fireplace into a heater. It's very efficient for them, but they live at 6,000 feet, so they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. They're above 3,000 feet, so that restriction doesn't apply to them. So
burning a fire, so that people understand how much particulate matter is dispersed by having an open flame or wood burning, whatever, then what is the impact of that?
Well, the impact was pretty significant. What's occurring is you're putting up what we call particulate matter 2.5. So that particulate matter or particles could be breathed in and get deep into the lungs and therefore cause, severe respiratory problems, asthma attacks, things like that. And it's almost the equivalent of several factories putting up smoke. So so if you have several homes over a very large area like the Southland, Inland Empire, LA, Orange County, San Bernardino, you're going to have a lot more air pollution in the air, and therefore more people can be affected. And even though you might have a nice, cold or marine layer day, you're going to also have really bad air.
So how do people know when there's a no burn day? Because if you're not listening, a lot of people listen to podcasts, although I think everybody listens to our radio show, ha ha ha. A lot of people listen to podcasts, or they books on tape or whatever, and so they're not necessarily getting their news from stations like this. How do people know when there's a no burn day?
Well, one thing we do, we put out a press release, but we also have our airalerts.com that they can sign up for. But also some of the local news stations will put out that notice to say, today is a no burn day, put out by AQMD. But also I think when we have fires, that message even gets pushed up a little higher, because even if you're out in River Valley or Riverside and there's a fire in Los Angeles, you're still going to be affected. But I think also for people who are from the Inland Empire like myself, they've seen the years of bad air. And so they have to really kind of take a greater interest, if they can, to pay attention to the news, set up at air alerts, and take their part to help improve air quality here. So so over the past several decades, it has been an effort by a lot of people to cut back on the emissions that they put up into our air. So that's just one way, is tuning in to local news, going to our website, and kind of taking part.
So I have to tell you, when the fires were burning in Los Angeles, I remember kind of coming down a hill I'm driving west on the 210, or was it the 10 freeway, and the cloud of it looked like smog, but of course it was smoke. It just brought back memories of being a little kid, when the air quality was so bad, you standing in Upland at Foothill Boulevard and you couldn't see the mountains. So it was quite something to see that. I hadn't seen that in a long time.
Yeah. I used to play soccer in Upland. I remember. Yeah, you're kind of almost at level with the smog. And yeah, that's what happened, especially when we had those fires, or on those days where we have what we call an inversion layer. So you have what it looks like, especially if you're up a little higher. It looks like there's a slow rolling wave or cloud of dust or smoke heading towards Inland Empire, because it essentially goes from the coast inward. And on some days where, especially when we have the Santa Anas, you have the winds blowing towards the coast. So what happens is, in some days we have a couple days of it coming towards the Inland Empire, then it blows away from the Inland Empire. But sometimes it becomes stagnant, because the wind's kind of basically holding it there in place for several days. So that's also why we have to issue the no burn alerts. So really, when people are looking at the weather, they can also try to look at air quality, because the weather does significantly affect our air quality.
So how can people get more information about the no burn days, about air quality in general, and about the Southern California AQMD?
Well, for AQMD, they can go to aqmd.gov. They can also go to airalerts.org, and that's where they can sign up, and they'll get a notification about air quality or no burn alerts in their area. So those are the two of the easiest ways to do it. And also, obviously, a lot of people are getting media as they choose, but also taking that second step, not just to check traffic and checking weather, but also checking air quality, because those things all the weather and air quality go together.
Indeed. Well, Patrick Chandler, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you.
And so it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. We'll be right back.
And now, Inland Empire Today with Blake Trolley.
Coca-Cola is giving its iconic Diet Coke a modern makeover. Brian Shook has the details.
The company believes its new sleek packaging and new flavors will better connect the Diet Coke brand to millennials. Coca-Cola next month will offer 4 new flavors, including ginger lime, twisted mango, feisty cherry, and zesty blood orange, in a newly designed skinny 12-ounce can. Coke planned the facelift about 2 years ago after seeing a decline in sugary drink consumption among health-conscious millennials. Brian Shook, NBC News Radio.
Thank you, Brian. Coming up, we're going to discuss Justin Timberlake and his new music video. So stay tuned.
What if I told you you'd never have to make a house payment again? What if you could pay off much-needed home repairs and even create an income stream based on the value of your home? If you're 62 years old or older, you could be eligible for a reverse mortgage. Call Tim Harrison and find out if a reverse mortgage is right for you. Call Tim at 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475. Tim Harrison, branch manager, NMLS number 170960. Broadview Mortgage Corporation is licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 170952. Registered with the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and registry number 813B544. Broadview Mortgage, equal housing lender. Remember, if you never want to make a house payment again, except for property taxes, maintenance, and insurance, that's 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is home to some of the best bargain shopping in the region. Cityware, Style for Less, and Dollar Tree, to name just a few. Friendly shop owners and staff are waiting for you to stop in for the many specials and bargains they're excited to share. The Tri-City Shopping Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make it your home for all your shopping needs, and you'll know why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart.
This segment is sponsored by Tammy Sutherland of Coldwell Banker Kcaa Teeters Realty, where she makes it her business to put happy people in happy homes. It's Tammy Sutherland's passion to list your house and put you in just the right house that you could call home.
She made so much extra effort to sell our house and make sure that we understood every step of the way. Tammy always had our best interests at heart.
I didn't think we'd ever find a house we loved, but with Tammy's help, we did. Now I get to mow the lawn every weekend. But then again, that's why we had kids. Hey, Tyler!
Tammy did way more than we ever expected in a real estate agent. Without Tammy, we would still be renting.
So if you want your perfect house, contact Tammy Sutherland at Coldwell Banker Kcaa Teeters Realty in Yucaipa, across from Yucaipa High School. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, it's homesbytammy.net or on Facebook at facebook.com/Realtor Tammy Sutherland at 909-556-2094 for Realtor Tammy Sutherland, and we thank her for her support.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
It's going down. I'm yelling timber. You better move. You better dance. Let's make a night you won't remember. I'll be the one you won't forget.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA. And we just got to talk about, I don't know what my obsession is with the Ball family, but these people just, and I say that I've got no bone to pick with the sons because they're a product of their father.
Yeah.
But their father, he just is the archetype of the ugly American.
Yes.
Like the archetype.
Yes,
of
and that bad parent in the sports, when your kids are playing sports, right? That parent that's yelling at the coach and yelling at the refs. And,
because they think they know better?
Yeah, and it's like, really, dude?
Yes.
Take a seat.
Apparently the Better Business Bureau has given them an F rating.
Ooh.
The Big Baller brand. And did you know that the Big Baller brand is headquartered in Chino Hills?
Yeah, I knew it was local.
See, I figured it was Southern California. I didn't know it was Chino Hills. So I have to tell you, the reviews are terrible, and most of them are people who ordered shirts or whatever as far back as October, and as of this week, people are posting. These are very, very recent.
Yeah.
They had not been received. Their credit cards have been charged.
Sure.
Which, by the way, is against the law. Can't charge till you ship. And given the stories that they're not paying their suppliers, that's why all the T-shirts and things have not been shipped to the people that bought them.
He needed the money, Aaron, to fly his boys out to the Eastern Bloc countries.
To Lithuania.
Lithuania to play ball in Nowheresville.
See, what he thinks, apparently, is that from his sheer awesomeness,
Yes.
people should just love him and give him money.
His response, though, is just so typical of LeVar Ball. He says, the Better Business Bureau is as outdated as the Yellow Pages. Who cares about them? Tell them that Yelp has replaced the Better Business Bureau. We honestly thought the Better Business Bureau was out of business. The new BBB stands for Big Baller Brand. And, of course, he turns it right into his own marketing. This guy's all about the hype.
Okay, so listen to this. And there's many of these. Ordered a T-shirt on 12/10, and this is from 1/8, have not received it, but card was charged. I sent an email on 12/28, and they blamed the carriers and holiday rush. On 1/8, another one. I purchased 2 pairs of shoes from BBB, from Big Baller Brand, and have not received anything from them. It's been 6 months now. I have attempted to contact them through email. No luck. Do not ever do business with this company. They will only take your money. And each one of these got some, dear valued customer, we're extremely sorry, yada, yada, yada. And, it's the customer actually responded to them. I would not wear your product or advertise it by wearing anything this ripoff company has to offer. They did not return any of my requests for the last 6 months until I contacted the BBB. It's a little too late. Hashtag never Big Baller Brand.
Wow. Yeah, this is a big deal, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him declaring bankruptcy here in a few months or weeks or whatever. And then launching some new incarnation of his brand, because this is what these kind of people do.
Well, this is outright theft. If you're taking people's money and then never deliver, that's just theft.
It is theft. But yeah, I mean, this guy is he's a scammer, total scammer, and the father is going to be the destruction of those boys.
I just feel bad for them because they're talented boys.
Yeah.
I just want to shake him. Let your, and like I said before, if he left these young men, these boys growing into young men, under their coaches, where they were at UCLA and at their high schools, they would have continued to develop into normal, productive people.
You'd hope. Yeah. It's very frustrating, very, very frustrating. But I'm just amazed at his chutzpah. How do you say that?
Chutzpah.
Chutzpah. Yeah. That the way he responds to this about the Better Business Bureau. And he again turns it into an ad for his own thing. Because the Better Business Bureau has 3 Bs, and so does Big Baller Brand. And so he's gonna. The way his brain works, it's like, really, dude?
So, in addition, Big Baller Brand is being sued by a Chino Hills company called Closet Collection, which alleges the Big Baller Brand owes them $25,000 for services rendered. Closet Collection was responsible for screen printing and embroidering hats, T-shirts, and other high-priced apparel sold by the company. When it came to making payments, they kind of bailed. A Closet Collection representative told the Times on Monday, we tried for about 3 months. They said they would make a payment about 7 times. They kept just pushing it back and kept pushing it back.
Ouch. And I feel for them because they're probably a small business as well, and they put the money forward to purchase the product and get the stuff. They've already paid, and they haven't been paid, right?
And in the meantime, LeVar Ball is, flying to Eastern Europe,
gallivanting around the globe,
and pretending that he's the prima donna.
Yes.
Yeah. So on to other annoying things. The hashtag Me Too, all of that, it was a big deal at the Golden Globes,
yes.
Even though they didn't invite Rose McGowan and others to the people who had really been hurt,
yes.
As everybody pretended that they care about sexual harassment in Hollywood, but clearly they don't. In France, the hashtag Me Too campaign is known as, I can't even pronounce it.
Balance Tom Pork.
There you go, meaning squeal on your pig. And some women, including actress Catherine Deneuve, says it has gone too far. Deneuve was one of around 100 French women, including performers, writers, and academics, who signed a letter published in Le Monde on Tuesday that slammed the post-Harvey Weinstein, quote, witch hunt, unquote. According to the local, rape is a crime, but insistent or clumsy flirting is not, nor is gallantry a macho expression, wrote the women, who said the campaign had been necessary to expose male abuse of power, but the public denunciations and impeachment of individuals in the press and on social networks is now out of control. And I would agree. This is a quote, men have been punished summarily, forced out of their jobs when all they did was touch someone's knee or try to steal a kiss, the women wrote. They denounced what they saw as Puritanism and complained that women are being treated as powerless perpetual victims. They argued quote unquote, they argued that that forcing men to rack their brains and apologize for alleged misconduct from decades ago recalled totalitarian societies. The Hollywood Reporter notes that other women to sign the letter include Catherine Millett, who wrote the memoir The Sexual Life of Catherine M., and porn star turned radio host Brigitte Lahaye.
Well, then these are women who know. They're experienced in these issues.
Well, but it's true. I mean, go back 30 years. He once, said whatever to me.
Yeah.
You know what? And you might have giggled.
Yeah.
And
is there a statute of limitations on bad behavior, right?
Define bad behavior.
No, I know. But I mean, if someone said something that offended you 30 years ago, can we still bring it up 30 years later?
Yeah.
And expect that person to apologize or lose their job, or you know what I mean, be held accountable to for whatever,
Yeah.
And to a certain degree, and this is going to stretch out here a little bit. To a certain degree, the Clarence Thomas hearings, and the way that Woody, what's his name? I'm just blanking on the guy's name. The comedian who made movies and stuff.
Woody Allen?
Woody Allen, thank you. Woody Allen. And, the way those scandals were handled, how much, where do we draw the line, right? Where do we draw the line as to when and how we deal with these people?
So Woody Allen actually had a relationship with his underage stepdaughter.
Yes.
That's kind of gross.
It is.
So, but she's talking about our comments. There used to be in interpersonal relationships, or you get kind of flirty and it's kind of fun, and it doesn't have to be a negative situation. And what I think what she's saying is that, and what these women are saying, not just Catherine Deneuve, is that we have gotten so that the completely innocent is turned into something nefarious.
Yes.
And men are like, whoa, I can't even talk to anybody anymore. And again, like we've talked about, is the net effect of that is that companies are going to think twice before hiring a woman, because who knows, some offhand remark will get you sued.
Exactly.
So with that, it's the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Have a great day, everyone.
Sweetness, I was only joking when I said I'd like to smash every tooth in your head. Oh.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
I'm Chuck Kamlick, CNBC. Stock futures are higher today. Yesterday's declines now appear to be a one-off. Walmart giving its workers a $1,000 bonus, a pay raise to $11 an hour, and more time off for family. Waste Management, which collects trash, is giving workers a $2,000 bonus. Xerox in talks with Fujifilm, its rival, for some kind of a partnership, not an outright buy, perhaps. Xerox, like Kodak and Sears, legacy American companies, struggling to keep up with the times. Delta Airlines profits down 8%, but Delta made more money than expected because it flew more people for the holidays. A research group in Chicago reports over 9,000 retail stores closed last year. Employment in the industry dropped 88% from November to December. Coming up next week in Miami, a hot Bitcoin conference, but you can't buy tickets with Bitcoin. Their machines can't handle it, so bring cash. Chuck Kamlick, CNBC.
At Discover, we believe anniversaries should be a time of celebration, not obligation. That's why we think annual fees are ridiculous. And now, just for giving us a try, we're going to give new card members a one-year anniversary gift they'll never forget. At the end of your first year, we'll match all the cash back you've earned dollar for dollar. No caps and no catches, because we know if you try us, you'll like us. And that's worth every penny. Try it and believe it at discover.com/match. Cashback match offer only for new card members. Limitations apply.
The world has it out for your floors, from overwatered plants to overflowing dog bowls. But the Home Depot has new water-resistant Pergo Outlast Plus laminate flooring starting at just $279 a square foot. Its 24-hour spill protection stands up to liquids for a whole day, so the world will have to wait. But you won't. The next generation of laminate flooring is here now. Pergo Outlast Plus from just $279 a square foot. Exclusively at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. U.S. only.
And now, the Inland News Update with Blake Trolley.
3 people were hurt in a shootout at a San Bernardino pawn shop. Police say suspects walked into the Highland Avenue business yesterday and threw a Molotov cocktail, then started shooting out with employees. One worker who was hit by gunfire is reportedly in very critical condition, while 2 other people were also wounded. The alleged robbers made a hasty getaway, but crashed their car nearby. The planned Cracker Barrel in Victorville isn't open yet, but it's already popular with job seekers. The restaurant reports that some 3,000 people have applied for the 265 jobs available.